Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Over 90 of the top 100 U.S. accounting firms trust Bill to handle bill pay processes. Why? Because our tools are built on over $1 trillion of secure payments. We're not just moving money. We're powering financial workflows for 500,000 customers. That's a level of expertise you just can't fake. Ready to talk with an expert? Visit Bill.com/proven to get started and grab a $250 gift card as a thank you. Terms and conditions apply. See offer page for details.
Hello and welcome to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Brooke Brigham, I'm the attorney.
And I'm Tess Brigham, I'm the therapist.
And today we are going to be talking about now this is a very long name. It's, God, now I'm going to get it wrong. So it's the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. The Real Housewives of New York Legacy.
But technically this is considered like the fourth season of this Real Housewives Ultimate Girl Trip.
Yeah.
And but this is all the OGs of New York.
New York. So we have Sonja Morgan. We have Luann de Lesseps. We have Ramona Singer, Dorinda Medley, Kelly Ben Simone, and Kristen Takeman.
Yes.
Now, I consider Luann, Sonja, Ramona, and Dorinda the legends. Yeah.
Yes.
Kelly was on.
She was on seasons 2, 3, and 4.
Okay. It's been a while since we've seen her. And Kristen was only on for 2 or 3 seasons.
2. She was 2 seasons. Okay. She was like. And Kristen, I feel for Kristen because Kristen's first season was 6 and her second season was 7. And 7 was when Dorinda came in and also Bethany returned.
Oh, so she got real overshadowed.
Yeah. So they went from like 6 to 8 and Bethany kind of didn't like Kristen or wouldn't give her the time of day. Mm-hmm. And so that really put her in a crappy position. And I was just like, unfortunately, I always liked Kristen Takeman. Yeah. I always did. I liked her. I've always liked her. And I really felt like I didn't see her as someone who would be on the show forever, but I think that she probably could have, she could have been like a Dorit. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like Dorit in the beginning, you're like, what the fuck what is she contributing? What is she doing? And now you're like, oh, okay, Dorit. I get it. I see it.
Yeah. And she didn't have a real great, strong storyline. Her big thing was her nail polish pop of color.
Yes, that was the second. Well, and she had the husband that no one really liked.
Yeah,
Josh,
he was kind of a jerk.
And he was such a douche, and I think he still is probably. And so I think seeing her and the way that like her lines too were like, I might be dumb, but I'm pretty. They like really made her lean into that. And she's not a stupid person. Yeah. And then her kids were really young and her daughter couldn't walk. I remember that. So there wasn't a lot of meat. And I think the other women, because she was basically a stay-at-home mom who sometimes modeled here and there, because of that, I think they were and still are really mean to her.
Yeah, they're dismissive of her.
Yeah.
And, I'm sorry, like Luann, Sonja, Ramona, Dorinda, they're just, you cannot compete with them.
Yeah.
So I looked up all of their ages. I want to go through this.
Yes.
Because
oh my
their
God,
bodies are fantastic.
I wrote this down about Luann. I said, Luann somewhere made a deal with the devil. because that woman walks into a room in a bikini, open with a kimono, just drank the whole night before, partying it up, walks right in.
Yeah.
And she, I mean,
not even bloated.
Like looking goddamn amazing.
Well, and I've never seen, they were basically in bikinis and bathing suits the entire time.
Yes.
So they're in St. Bart's. And, okay, Luann is 58.
That's unreal.
Sonja is 60.
Yeah, she looks great. Though, I mean, I think all these women have had their boobs done, and they've all had some sort of work
I noticed that Sonja, when she was trying to get in one of those outfits, she has a scar, like a tummy tuck scar, that looked kind of fresh.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and also in some of the things too, Sonja looks great. I mean, her butt's a little floppy here. You see a lot of her.
Yeah, we saw her.
We saw her pretty
thing.
kitty. We saw everything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they've all had work done.
Yes.
But because they're wealthy, like it's really good work.
Well, I want to get back to Kelly, but yeah,
okay,
go ahead.
Yeah. So Ramona is the oldest. She is 67.
She looks
her
great.
skin, like you look at her and you're just like, what are you doing? I mean, I guess I've heard that phrase, like the best way to have good skin is to be rich.
Yes.
Because you can pay for all that stuff.
But she also she's also had a facelift. She's also done that. We know that. But excellent work. Excellent
work.
Looks
Not cheap.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I do think that these women, Luann, Ramona, I think they've always been thin. I think that a lot of it is genetics, like they just had the genes. But I think
they've always taken care of themselves.
Yeah, but I also think, because obviously Luann's very strong, but I also think that when you're born thin and you have those good genes and that you get these really good habits very early on, it just continues off through your life.
Yeah.
It's really hard when you didn't have the habits early on.
So Dorinda is 59.
Wow.
And she's always been very active. The Dorindobic. What does she call her aerobics?
Is it
Dorinda aerobics or something?
Aerobics.
Kelly is 55 and her body looks really good. She has had some face work that's questionable.
And I need to talk about that. So yeah, I have a lot to say about Kelly.
We'll get to Kelly.
Yeah.
And then Kristen is the youngest. She's 46. And she looks smoking, because she's 46.
Well, and also we hear them say that she just got her boobs done.
Oh, okay, I've missed that. Yeah, you can tell she said.
Yeah.
But she was a model, and
again, and they're also I was about to say Janelle, wrong show. Luann and Kristen, they're both, and Kelly are both all models. So you're very tall.
Right.
And so obviously, when you're tall and thin like that, you look great and everything, they have that look. But Kelly, I will tell you right now, I have never liked Kelly. I did not like her when she first showed up on the show. I was a big Bethany fan, and she was very mean. We all know you're up here, I'm down, you're down here, I'm up here. We all know that she was so mean to Bethany for whatever reasons. We don't know. Even though I'm not much of a Bethany fan these days, like all of that just left a bad taste in my mouth. I could not stand her. And then we see her in Scary Island. And I mean, anyone who witnessed that could tell like there's something going on here. And then, and then just how she's been with all of it since that time. But the thing about Kelly is, she was always very beautiful. And then I see her on this and I'm like, what the hell have you done to your face?
Yeah, it looks really weird.
And it's like, and you have money. Like like you're a model. Like what? So her body looks great because she always had this amazing body, but like, she had the worst face stuff done to her, or she got it too soon to this thing and it hasn't settled.
Yeah.
It's awful. She looks terrible.
Yeah. It doesn't
truly
look good.
terrible.
I don't know how to describe it, but her lips are off. And then she seems to have something that was around her cheekbones that looks off.
Jaw is oddly wide.
Yeah.
And her like all of it is so weird. So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. But anyway, so you mentioned Scary Island. They are going back to Scary Island, to the same villa.
No, not that Scary Island. Because they're going back to the season 5.
The pirate, yes.
The pirate.
Okay.
In St. Bart's.
Okay, so in St. Bart's, they're in the same villa where Luann hooked up and Sonja.
Well, Luann clarifies.
Luann claims she did not have sex with the pirate.
Yes,
but Sonja did.
Sonja did. But this is the infamous "you're white trash." Quite frankly, take a Xanax. That whole thing.
It's a beautiful. Obviously beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
That island is so beautiful.
I know. I've always wanted to go there, though I don't really want to take that little plane. But then Sonia's like, well, we could have taken the ferry. I'm like, there's a ferry? Okay, I'll get on that.
Yeah.
But it looks so beautiful. But I would think that everything's got to be so expensive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the price point to just show up. Yeah.
Just to get there on that. Yeah. Just the flight, whatever. So yeah, you have to have a lot of money just to even get to the island. So they are showing, later show them getting ready. We're catching up with people. Kristen has moved to Calabasas, and her husband, Josh, he looks rough.
Yeah. Josh,
he went through that Ashley Madison scandal where his name was discovered as one of the people who was using the Ashley Madison website, which was a website where married people go to hook up to have affairs.
Yes. Not to be confused with Dolly Madison.
Sonja thought it was Dolly Madison.
And they're like, I'm thinking, Dolly Madison, the president's wife? James Madison's wife?
Or isn't she the one
There's Dolly Madison's like a famous first lady.
Yeah. Or was it, who was the one who sewed the first flag?
Oh,
is that Dolly Madison, or is that?
Oh my God! Why can't I think of this? This is going to be Ross.
Betsy Ross.
Isn't that Betsy Ross?
That sounds familiar.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, maybe Dolly Madison was the first lady to James Madison.
Yeah. Yes. Here we go. Who sewed the first
Betsy
American
Ross.
flag? God, this is sad. Betsy Ross.
Okay.
So we're good about that.
We got it.
Good. We got that.
We figured it out.
Phew. All right. Dolly Madison, I believe, was married to James Madison, and he was our Madison Monroe. So I want to say fifth president, or seventh. I could be wrong. Okay. Anyway.
Wait, you know more than me. I don't know.
But yeah. So the whole stuff getting there is like kind of boring.
Yeah, because they're all, talking and packing, and, Sonja's talking about how she's an empty nester.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, well, your daughter, I believe.
She's 23.
Yeah.
So wasn't she an empty nester 5 years ago?
For a while, yeah.
Well, and also she says she's living in Virginia. Like the townhouse is rented out.
Uh-huh.
And she says, I'm living in Virginia. I don't know with who, but basically she says, like, anyone that will take me. And they're all complaining to Sonja about the fact, like, Luann's like, I text you, you never text me back. We want to see you more. And I think apparently, she's sort of been on the move.
I don't think she can afford to go hang out in New York.
Yeah, and I don't think she can. And I think that she is really desperate. It sounds like she says it, like desperate for money.
She's doing those cameos all day, every minute she can.
Also, she's on OnlyFans.
Oh my God, I have to see that.
She's on OnlyFans.
Doing what?
I don't know. I don't know what she's doing. I mean, I think that, and I'm like, thank God, support Sonja. I love Sonja. Sonja has some moments where you're like, oh, Sonja, but like, you've got to say that the times when she is mean really stem from her own insecurities and her fears and all of that kind of stuff. And you can see the pain in that.
Yeah.
And so you kind of can't be mad at her too long. But at the same time, she comes from she's so kind about things and can let things brush
she's
things
very
off.
easygoing.
Yeah. In some ways, and in other ways, not so much. But I love Sonja. I think Sonja and Ramona are two people. I've always loved Sonja. Ramona, I've always been up and down with, but I like this Ramona that we see now. I think this Ramona is very different.
This Ramona was great up until maybe like the last episode, and she kind of lost it. Yeah.
But, and Luann is someone I didn't really love in the beginning, but the minute Luann started being Luann, I was like, all right, I'm all for it. And I love Luann, and God damn it, that woman. I mean, she is just up for a good time.
Yeah, she's dropped all pretenses. Remember how snobby she used to be?
Yeah, Mrs. De Lesseps, and she's like this, and the Countess.
We're at a cancer charity, for God's sake.
The other thing is, you also get the sense that I think that she's this is who she is and how she's always been. I think that she met him, and I think he was like, you got to keep it together. You need to be like this. And she talks about this often, and I think he cheated on her a lot, and I think he was very controlling and manipulative, and I think it was her kind of getting away from him and realizing like, oh, I can be a fun person. Like I can have these different feelings. So, but yeah, I don't know where she gets her energy from, because I would be exhausted by one day of her life. Yeah. One day of this trip would exhaust me.
Oh, this trip overall looked very exhausting. Like all day. Okay, we're doing these itineraries.
Well, they have to have activities.
They have to have content, but it looked exhausting to me. And all the drinking, and then you got to get up the next day, and then you got to do it all over again.
Yep.
And it's hot. They're talking about how hot it is, and they're at the beach and doing stuff. So it was very interesting. But so the house manager, Martin, he plays a big role in this. And it's the chef, Jean-Baptiste, is the same chef from 10 years ago. And there's a new sous chef who factors into this Manu,
who is very cute.
Yeah. So they arrive there, and immediately Ramona's yelling about how she's starving. I think everyone's just cranky and hungry from traveling. And then Kristen and Dorinda end up in the pool, and then they start an argument about whether Dorinda was put on pause, and Kristen's like, you mean when you were fired? And Dorinda was just like, oh, fuck no, you are not going to talk to me like that.
Well, because there's this weird dynamic that got set up from the beginning, which is, if they also had Jill Zarin, or if they also had Bethany, or, but I think very early on, you've got the 4 superstars, and then you've got Kelly and Kristen that are kind of these weird 1 to 2 hit wonders. And I think that Kelly very early on wanted to differentiate herself from Kristen and wanted to kind of be like, well, I'm an OG too. I'm OG. I'm part of this group, and wanted to do that. And I think Kristen came in knowing that like no one's going to believe or thinks that I should be here.
Right.
So she already, I think, came in not trying to start trouble, but
she was trying to start conversations. Yeah. And they interpreted that because, she prepared. She's like, I need to have stuff to talk to these women about.
Because I haven't talked to them in a long time.
To them. So she kind of went back and did some homework. And so she's coming at them with questions like, well, what was it like when you did this or that? And then they got all, especially Kelly, got all suspicious of her. Like, why are you investigating us, or why are you interviewing us like this? And that caused a whole thing that was a thread throughout.
Yes. I have a lot of feelings about
6 episodes.
Well, but I thought that was hilarious. Like, oh my God, Dorinda's on it already. Like, do not say, was it fired or pause? Because pause, she's okay with. But they kept saying like, don't say those things to Dorinda.
Yeah, don't say. Yeah. Well, everyone's like, come on, Dorinda, you were fired. But she's like, no, I was put on pause.
Andy told me I'm on pause. And then I was in Ultimate Girls Trip 2 at my house and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and then we get this whole thing about, this is why these women are all stars, is that they start to talk about Kristen. They'll talk about the Ashley Madison thing, of course, Dolly Madison. And so essentially, Sonja and Ramona that night go into the room, busts out an article, starts reading out loud everything that they're learning about her. And then they go right over to her and say, well, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. Can you answer this, answer that? And I think this is what is so different and unusual about this cast is they can be so awful to each other, and then they're best friends 5 minutes later.
Oh, I know.
All is forgiven. You just Dorinda and how she can go from 0 to 60 and then back again, and how they all are able to negotiate that and see that and move on from it. Like Beverly Hills, they would be
right.
Ugh.
Well, that's why they are legacy. That's why they are royalty, and they are so good at this, because if you're going to be on a Housewives show and be successful, you cannot hold a grudge for more than 12 hours.
Yes.
You have to get over it and move on, and they do. God, they say the meanest things to each other, and then they're like, well, these are my friends. I'm on this show. I just got to move forward. And think about shows like New Jersey where, Melissa and Teresa won't even film together, and that's unsustainable.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
And I really wish I don't know why I think they made a big mistake when they scrapped New York and basically replaced everybody. And then, some of the people they fired. I mean, that group, this is just like pure magic.
Yes, it is. It is. And the thing was, I think I didn't watch the Ebony K. Williams season.
That was a terrible season.
I didn't watch any of that. I was taking a big Housewives break at that time. But, I think it's hard when you have, look at Kristen Takeman. She's 20 years younger than Ramona, right? Like, how much can Ramona relate to her? And how much, you have to have women around the same places in their lives and what's going on. So I think that, replacing them and having this younger cast was a good option. But I do think that you need, you either need to get Joel Zarin will come back on. I think you need to get people that have these long histories with these women. You don't need that many. God, I'd watch a show with just the 4 of them.
Oh, yeah. I would watch that show all day.
Yeah. So I don't quite understand why we can't get these 4.
I don't know.
To do something.
They need their own show.
Yeah. And this is the thing is they've got Luann and Sonja doing Crappy Lake. They've got, they're just trying to stick these women anyway.
I saw one episode of that and I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. I never watched it, but I've seen some clips.
Yeah. I think it's coming back.
Yeah. I'm sure it is.
Okay. So, but this is day 1, basically.
Yes. And then, but this whole thing starts, when do things start to get crazy between Kelly and Kristen? Is this still day 1 or is that day 2?
I think it's day 2. So Kelly brought all these gift bags.
Oh, God. That thing was weird.
Full of stuff. And I don't quite know why. I don't know what was in the bags and why is she promoting this? What is she doing?
She's not. So the thing is that she brings all this stuff, but it's... So she has huge suitcases full of this stuff. And these are apparently what Kelly says, these are all my favorite products. And giving gifts is my love language. And I wanted to give everyone a gift. But it pissed Luann off because I think instantly where they all go to is much like what they did to poor Jenna Lyons and the other Roni, right, reboot is the feeling is if you give a gift on camera, that means I need to promote this. Right. And I think they instantly got turned off by that. And why Kelly did not think that through, because Kelly talks a lot about being used by people. But the other thing that I think is such an asshole move is this. You dragged all of this crap all the way to St. Bart's. Now each of these women have to put this crap
schlep it back with them.
Schlep it back. That's what Dorinda was saying. Like, if you want me to have all these beautiful things, then come to my home and give it to me. Yeah. It's a real jerky thing.
She was trying to show off, basically.
Yeah.
Kind of backfired.
Yeah, it did. But I just thought that was so... It's just... I think that encapsulates Kelly and Kelly's personality, which is... She thinks she's doing something nice or she thinks she's coming across one way, but she never stands back and thinks about how it impacts other people or how other people would see it. And then when people don't see it that way, she cannot see beyond that. She cannot ever she just can't.
Yeah.
And I have theories about that too.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, you're getting deep into this.
I am because I have so many feelings about Kelly.
So Luann makes several references to, she wants to get laid on this trip.
She does.
And she's letting everybody know, she needs a new pirate.
Yes.
And she makes her eggs a la française.
Yes.
And so everyone's ready to go out to this outing and Sonja's on the phone calling her insurance company or something. They're like, come on, we've got to leave. And Luann is really pissed at Sonja and Ramona because they're always taking forever. They're always in their room, getting like 2 teenagers getting ready, taking their time, and everyone's always waiting on them and whatever. So then they get into these things that look like Barbie Jeeps.
Yes.
They're going to some beach. And this is when both Luann and Sonja are doing cameos in the Jeep.
Yes.
And you can hear each other in the background. You're like, oh, you're getting 2 for 1, And just like, oh my God. They're talking about how much they charge,
But I'm wondering how much money it's like. So Sonja's that broke. Do you know what I mean? It's like Sonja. Hold on. So Sonja's making you've made money for you're getting money every month for the townhouse. I'm sure there's taxes and other things that you have to pay. So I don't know how much she clears. You're staying with people rent free, so you don't have that expense. It sounds like, or wherever people will take her. She says, and then on top of that, she just did Crappy Lake. You're just doing this show, and you're making $100 plus per cameo. It's like, why are you so broke?
If you do, you do 10 a day. That's like $1,000. I don't know.
I don't understand why she's struggling so much with money, because it seems like she has lots of, and I'm sure they can do posts on Instagram and other things. Like, why is this such a struggle for you?
I have no idea.
Anyway.
Maybe she has a lot of debt. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
So they go to this restaurant where I think they'd been there before. Like Ramona knows the owner, Greg or something, and they might have gone there on their last trip. But anyway, they, of course, find some young guys that work at the restaurant.
Oh, yes.
And they invite them to, come over to the villa tonight.
Oh, yes.
What else? There's a lot of scenes that look like they're set up. I don't know. I don't know what, I made these notes. I watched this episode so long ago. Can't even remember now.
Well, I watched it pretty recently, but yeah, this is where, so then they have all the people come. And I think that day 2 is also like day 1 and day 2 were pretty mellow, like a lot of like setting things up, setting up issues. But it's during, I think, day 2 when Kelly says to Kristen, "You're like a host. You're being weird. You're being like a fan. You're being, by asking these questions and knowing what happened when and all this kind of stuff." She keeps calling her a host. And Kelly says to her, you're, I know this because this is what I did when I was on the show. I would ask a lot of questions and cover up things so I wouldn't have to talk about myself. And I'm like, you're the most self-involved goddamn person I've ever met. What are you talking about? And so she kept doing this and doing this and doing this. And finally, it's Dorinda, actually, because Kristen's kind of trying to, she's trying to defend herself. She's like, well, I was just trying to have things to talk about. I'm sorry. What should I talk about? Like, what should I do? Like, what would you prefer I do? What would you prefer I ask about? Like, she's trying to figure out why Kelly is acting like this. And so finally, Dorinda says to Kelly, you know what? You're being really condescending and you're being really cunty. And that sets Kelly off. Like Dorinda, because Dorinda's like, she's annoyed. She's starting to see some things. And so, but what the thing about Kelly is that she likes, and this is what she did to Bethany, and she's doing it now to Kristen, which is she really likes to label people. She projects on them. She's so anxious and she wants to control things.
Yeah, she has this real anxious energy.
And so the way in which she controls things is by putting you in your place, making sure you know these things. And I think that she's such a fascinating character because I think about someone like Kelly, because she went on this whole tirade about how she had to do everything herself. She was left no money. She's had to build everything by herself and all of this. And Brandy Glanville has come out and said, well, that's a bunch of bullshit about Kelly Ben-Simone because she was left. She might not have gotten anything in the divorce, but she was left a Hamptons house that was $13 million or $12 million. Yeah, and that's not nothing.
Her father was really wealthy, like a famous, was he an attorney?
Oh, I don't know.
I remember
but
that,
but so people are calling her out on this, like, well, okay, Kelly. And this is the thing about Kelly that I think is really interesting is that this is a woman who's been beautiful her entire life. I think this is, after watching that Supermodels documentary, I think this is the thing about beauty and is that you're in such this weird position because I think on one hand, you are so revered, so loved. And I think a lot of people think everything that you say is interesting. And I think a lot of men have probably heard her say this kooky stuff and been like, oh, ha, 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 ha. And she thinks that it's okay. And I think that she's been revered in this way for so long, but you're also, so you're loved and revered on one hand, but then you're only seen for your body and you're treated like a commodity on this other hand. And I think that just seeing how these models and these women kind of handle things, I think that Kelly has never been able to kind of get out of that. And I think she today is someone who isn't as beautiful and isn't being looked at and she's still very, very pretty, but it's like, I just wonder, I think she has a lot of insecurities about the fact that she is no longer this, great beauty.
Well, she's still beautiful, but it's just that she's older. It's more like, you can, because youth is everything. You have to be young and beautiful. Like, when you get to be a certain age, things, even if you're still beautiful, people look at you differently.
I think she's just, I think she's had a tremendous amount of privilege most of her life. Mm-hmm. And I think that she just, I don't know, we learn more when we hear the astrologer, but it's just like she wants people to think of her like this self-made person. Mm-hmm. Like she really wants people to see that she had nothing and that she, raised her girls on her own.
I also highly doubt she got nothing in her divorce.
And that's the other
he would have had to pay child support by law, at least till they were 18. I don't know how old, because I remember from the last show, they were minors.
Yeah. And she lived in a beautiful home in New York.
So this story...
And it had a Hamptons home.
This story doesn't make sense.
The other thing that annoys me about this is she acts like with this real estate stuff, right? She's like, I just sold $50 million or I just did this, I did that. Which, again, real estate is about your relationships. And real estate is about who is in your Rolodex. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. So I don't see that as being self-made. Like, if you had nothing and you were average looking and you were selling $50 million homes in New York, I would say that's self-made. I think that you at, 40 something, realizing you couldn't model anymore, getting a real estate license and going in and using your fame and beauty and your connections to sell things is a little different.
Yeah. Well, her ex-husband was a famous photographer. Yeah. And I didn't realize he was so much older than her. They showed a picture of him. He looked like he's like 70 and she's 25 or 30 or something. I'm like,
well, apparently. And she says that he was horribly abusive. And I think, again, with the supermodel thing, we saw that with Linda Evangelista, like this weird dichotomy of like being loved and revered and, 50 feet and, up in magazines and on billboards. And then these women, they connect with these older, awful men that just treat them like trash.
Yeah.
It's awful. Anyway.
All right. So... where are we? Well,
this is when they start bringing up the whole Ashley Madison thing. And Kristen says that she claims that Josh did not cheat on her. And no one believes it.
Of course not.
Everyone. And they say it to her face. Yeah. They're like, no, what?
Well, at a minimum, he intended on cheating on you. He made a profile and, was on there. Maybe he didn't actually meet up with anybody, but
yeah. But this was the point where like Sonja brings up the article she was reading. She's like, hold on a second. See, this says 72 times or whatever the number was that he visited the site. Right. That it and the story has never added up. So if he wanted to, he wanted to cheat.
He wanted to cheat. And then later on in the one of the other episodes, she's still having to defend herself.
Yeah.
And she's like, look, I wanted to stay in my marriage. I love my husband. We worked through it. We did this. This is, and it's like, frankly, it's none of your fucking business, you know? And she finally was able to, as the days went on, she figured out how to stand up to these women. And by the end, she was, holding her own. But at first, she was just like, and they can smell it. She's, she's the newbie.
She's like chum.
Yeah. So,
well, and this is where Kelly goes off on her and yells at her about like, just screaming at her about how, how she had to sacrifice all these things and she had to do this, and about women who stay home with their kids and working moms. There was that whole thing. It was so aggressive. Yeah. And she thinks she's saying some brilliant thing and she's not. And it's really sad to watch and very painful. And the whole time I'm like, Luann, why do you want to be this woman's friend so badly? Like, why do you want to, but Luann just wants to get to Rangers.
She wants to meet some Rangers. She's, Luann needs a constant source of men.
Yes, I guess that's true. So a hockey team, the whole team to choose from, Yes. Yeah. So I guess Kelly's dating someone who plays hockey or was on the Rangers. I'm so confused.
No, they showed a picture of her fiance too. He's too old to be playing on the Rangers.
Fiance, that's another thing. Too.
Yeah, they're not.
That's so weird.
They're just dating. Then she's
it's a weird. Kristen asked her, "Are you dating anyone?" It's complicated. That's what she said to Kristen first,
right? And then it evolved into, "I'm about to get married."
Yes. Like, here are my love letters.
A few episodes later. Yeah. And he packed her a love letter for every day she was going to be gone. Yeah. She's reading them out loud. And I'm just
they're so
this
weird.
Sounds like, again, are we in high school?
Yeah.
Like, that's what the letter sounded like. High school. And then all of a sudden she's about to be married. And then, was she talking to Kristen or someone else? And they're like, wait a minute. When did you get engaged? Or
that was Dorinda. Dorinda's like, what? Because day one, it's complicated. Day two, they're boyfriend, girlfriend. By day 3 or 4, she's yelling at Kristen saying, you don't know anything about me. Dorinda knows and Luann knows and Sonja knows. They all know that she's, about to be married. Yeah. And they're all going, what?
Yeah. Well, no, this guy is not on the team. Maybe he's like,
a manager
or
agent?
Yeah, he works for the Rangers in some capacity.
Yes.
But he's too old to be a player.
And then the whole time, Kelly seems very resistant and claims that I can't invite people to the Rangers game. And then we hear her on with her daughter, and the daughter says, oh, those are my tickets. I want to go. Because I think the daughter likes to go. Mm-hmm. And so instead of just being honest with her, she puts it back on her of like, you only want to use me for Ranger tickets. And it's a little bit of like, Kelly, she's reaching out to you in whatever way. Yeah, this is how it is with Luann. You got to have men.
Right.
So this is, you want to be her friend? Have men around.
Oh, God.
Psych Legal Pop will be back after these messages.
Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellows wherever you get your podcasts.
So then they go, I think this is day 3, they go to some cooking lesson, which doesn't last long. They are not interested in cooking.
No.
And this poor chef is trying to, it was just a disaster. And Sonja brings a bunch of plastic bags to take food home in.
Yes. It's like, what is happening?
Oh, my Lord.
But yeah, that's the night that they go to a the restaurant, then they go to this restaurant that night and it turns into a nightclub and everyone starts dancing on the tables. And then everyone leaves except for Luann and Ramona. And then it becomes, I wrote down Housewives After Dark. That's what they wrote down. They're like, ooh, it's Housewives After Dark.
Oh my God. That's funny.
Yeah, they were determined.
And then they go home, they go back to the villa and they're skinny dipping. Well, Luann and Ramon stayed at the club and the others.
That's right.
But Kelly went to bed. So it was just Dorinda, Kristen, and Sonja skinny dipping. Yeah, and there was a lot of skinny dipping, a lot of nakedness.
Yeah, a lot of Sonja getting naked.
We saw pretty much Sonja, every part of Sonja's body. We saw
lots of boobs.
We saw, I think even Dorinda, had some flashes of stuff.
Yeah.
We saw a lot.
Yes, we did.
They were very scantily clad the whole time.
Yes. And then day 4 starts with Sonja yelling at Martin. She seems to be in a mood by day 4. I don't know. Something shifted. There was something that happened. I can't remember if it was 4 or 5 where things started to get weird for Sonja.
Yeah, she started to get very agitated.
Something agitated her. I can't remember what. But yeah, and then again, goddamn Luann comes walking out. She'd been at that club on a bikini.
Yeah.
Looking flawless.
Well, and she was smoking a lot.
Yes.
In this. We never see her. We have not seen her smoke on camera for a long time.
Yes. But I think she's been a smoker this whole time.
Yeah, well, yes, hence the cabaret voice.
But it's always amazing to me because she's so strong and athletic.
Yeah.
But this is her one vice. And men.
Yeah. And she's drinking again, but not to excess. I think, I don't know, maybe the time when she was having all that bad stuff happen to her, she just kind of like...
Yeah. So is this the day when Kelly takes some calls by the pool and that set Dorinda off and everyone just got so pissed off because she was making business calls and work calls outside. I didn't understand why that was so annoying.
Right.
I was kind of like, well, she has to work and okay.
Yeah.
Why can't she make calls? But this is where Dorinda starts to really get mad. And she's like, she's such a phony. She's unwilling to show herself. And she needs to put herself above other people all the time. And,
which is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dorinda's another one where Dorinda will turn at the drop of a hat.
Yes.
Like everything will be fine. And then all of a sudden she gets set off so easily. But then like the next day or a few hours later, everything's fine. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Sometimes I think, is she acting? Is she doing this on purpose?
I don't know.
I don't even know. It's so weird.
I don't think she's that good of an actress. I really don't. Yeah, it is. And I think that's, it's hard to be her friend. And I think that's why it works with Sonja and Luann and Ramona is the three, they all really kind of, the 4 of them all really understand each other.
Yeah,
and
they can
really
handle each other.
That this is who this person is and this is how it's going to be. And I'm just not going to go there and touch that. I also think it's a New York thing because I do think that, people on the East Coast, New Yorkers, I felt this when I was in Boston, going to school there, like it's much more right to your face, say it there. And there is less of, I'm going to say it like it is and then I'm going to move on kind of thing. Yeah. We take things very personally out here in California. So I do.
Well, I think you'd probably still take things personally in New York. I think that, these women have led very, not typical lives.
Yeah.
They're pretty hardened.
Yes.
They really have they cannot afford to get fazed by much.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then Kelly is still lost her mind. She still doesn't get it. She's trying to explain everything. And it's just like, oh my God, just hear the feedback and go. But today is the day they go to the yacht.
Oh,
it's a yacht day. And Sonja is in heaven. Sonja is so excited for the yacht. We all know that Sonja loves a yacht. And it's just crazy. I mean, it's just like all of it. Dorinda and Luann ride a hot dog all over the place. And this is when Kelly realizes, okay, fighting with Kristen's not working. So she gets fixated on the fact that Dorinda called her a cunt.
Yeah.
And she cannot let it go. And Dorinda's like, well, I called you cunty. That's a little different.
It's different.
And I do know that a lot of people are offended by that word. It doesn't offend me per se. And I do love...
It's one of my favorite words.
It's one of my favorite words. I love cunty because cunty is... And Dorinda kept saying, I'm English. It's British because she lived in London for a while. Like, it's
true. It's a big word like in Australia, in different places. Yeah.
And so she didn't see it. She was saying you're being condescending and cunty. Like, she didn't feel like she had said it to her. And I feel like... she did apologize to her. She did go back to her and say, I'm sorry. But now we're now day 4. Like this was resolved day 2. This was a lifetime ago. So she brings this up again and she just stews and stews and stews. She is so narcissistic. That's the thing. She has no ability for empathy. She thinks she does. She's the worst kind. Because people, listen, you will meet a narcissist who will tell you, yeah, I don't care what other people think or feel. Okay. But someone who thinks they care. Ugh. So, and then Kelly's crying to Luann about her hard life. And, yeah, it just gets so weird. So Luann, this was the best. Luann gets so fed up with Kelly. Do you remember this?
I love this, yeah.
She's just like, Jesus Christ, talking to her. I can't talk to her.
Yeah.
And
Luann's
she's
trying to have a nice time on the boat, you know?
And Luann's just like, come on.
Yeah,
this is a vacation.
get over it. I
Move
know.
on. So she called you a cunt. You know what people have called me?
Yeah,
Like,
I've been called worse, you know?
Luann's just like, whatever.
Kelly is the biggest wet blanket, and she was so annoying. I was like, God, I would hate to be on this trip with her because she's just negative.
So please, the producers, Bravo, stop bringing her on.
No,
they keep
she's
trying
terrible
to.
TV.
You keep trying to make Kelly work. It's not.
No.
It's never going to work. Because she doesn't understand what the job is.
No, she doesn't understand the job at all.
And she's not kooky and appealing enough, like, you know, like someone like Sonja or like someone like Luann, where you can root for them. You still want to root for them, even when you're like, God, you're being an asshole.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that night is neon night. And this was the best. They all look great. And they all have these amazing, like every night they dress up. Luann's got this cute blonde wig. And so Luann gets up there and she's like, where are the men? And Kristen's like, I didn't invite anyone. Like, this was Kristen's night, so she was supposed to plan it. But like, and they decorated it, looked really cute. But Luann was like, what? Like, you know she was thinking to herself, I've been with you bitches all day.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about?
Yeah. And then and then at the table, when they're all dressed up in the neon stuff, isn't that when Kelly, maybe it was the cunty thing,
made a toast.
Oh, that's right.
So Luann tells her story. I can't remember which story this was, like how she met the Count or how she was telling, she's right in the middle of a story of being like, I'm this young, naive woman and I come into the town. And
she was talking about a threesome.
Oh,
she was going to tell a story about a threesome.
Damn it. Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Kelly.
Yes.
God damn you, Kelly. I missed that.
And everyone was like, we didn't even get to hear who it was with.
They're dying.
Kelly interrupts the story.
So then all of a sudden she's like, well, I'd like to make a toast. And everybody's like, what the hell is happening?
Now?
And thanking Kristen. Now things are shifting, right? Thanking Kristen for the party and then she started talking. And then this is a toast to Kristen. Thank her for the party. I've been so stressed and, I had to make that call because, I'm so upset because when I first met Dorinda, she was so lovely, but she called me a cunt.
She brings it up again.
Yeah. And that's what was so funny. That was when Luann started hiding. That's when Luann was smoking and hiding. She was like, God fucking damn it.
She just kept moving around the house, like hiding so she didn't have to talk to these women.
Like, not only are there no men here, but we have to revisit this story and I was going to talk about my threesome. She is, And then that's when Kelly started talking about, like, I'm almost married.
God.
Yeah.
This was so
And this was
weird.
the other thing too, was that she blatantly Kelly made this point where it was like, basically what she was saying to Kristen was, because Kristen was saying, I was trying to connect with you, like share things with me. How do we become friends? And each time she would go to Kelly and say, well, what would you like me to do? And Kelly's response to that is about the questions. Like, her response is it's not like ask less questions or that makes me feel like I'm on a job interview or whatever. She says, well, I just want you to enjoy your life. So what the fuck is Kristen supposed to do with that? It's truly insane. But like, she basically tells Kristen, like, I don't want your friendship and I don't respect your advice.
Wow. That's so mean.
Yeah, it is.
After she just made a toast to her.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she is just
crazy.
Yeah. Back and forth.
Scary Island.
Scary. She's nuts.
Yeah. Because that's what Sonja, because of anyone there, it was Sonja and Ramona that were both there. Right. And so Sonja is, she keeps trying to bring up the fact about Scary Island. She's like, no, we were there. We saw this. Like, this is what happened.
Oh, and then Dorinda watched the episode.
Yes.
And she was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, then it's day 5. It's the morning of day 5. and they have like yoga every morning and all that. So Dorinda comes out to work out. Kelly gives her the biggest hug, like a hug from a long loss. And you could tell Dorinda was like,
what is happening?
I mean, it's crazy. And I don't understand why. I felt like reaching through the screen and telling Kristen, stop trying to be Kelly's friend. Why do you want to be this person's friend?
Right. Just leave her alone. Don't talk to her.
Yeah. And then, it's truly, truly, truly bizarre.
So is this the day they go surfing?
Yes.
Yeah, this was interesting. Dorinda was a good surfer.
Yes. And Luann, and this is why I'm like, God, Luann's so athletic.
Yeah.
Because surfing is hard. I did it once when I was 38. I took surfing lessons for my 38th birthday, and I can't imagine doing it now. It is the hardest thing. Like, it's one of those things, like, you have to be doing it when you're a kid because it is so hard just on the sand. You have to, like, pop your body up, and that is hard. And just watching Luann do that, I'm like, God damn it, she just got up real fast.
Yeah.
And then trying to do that in the ocean is really hard.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't even attempt it. Yeah. Kristen, she was bragging about how her and her husband go on these surfing trips. And she couldn't even stay on the board. Well, at least that's what they showed. Yeah. She probably did great, but they just show these clips of her falling off the board.
Well, and then this was, they surfing. And then this is when Kristen lost that toenail and that whole thing. And they were so mean to her about it.
I couldn't even look at it. It was just giving me the chills.
But they were so mean to her. They were like, oh, God, what's your problem? As someone who's had 2 toenails removed, it is awful and painful. And I think she was doing that without anything.
Any anesthesia?
Anything. Because when I got my toenails taken off, it was horrible. You got needles in your toes, but they basically numb your toes. Oh, and so getting needles in your toes is not fun, but then it's over and you just feel pressure.
Oh my God. I can't talk about this.
I know, it's disgusting. Anyway, then they have the scavenger hunt, which seemed like a lot of fun.
That was kind of fun, yeah.
And then they go to dinner, and this was the dinner where Sonja loses her mind. Because she starts telling stories. Like, this was where they were all going to talk about how they met their husbands or their partners. And they opened a door for Sonja to be able to talk about her marriage. And
she talked about more than, she talked about everything.
Yes.
Well, first she interrupted somebody who was already talking, I believe.
Yeah,
and
it was weird.
And she just started talking. She's going on and on and on and on and on and on. And people are getting up and leaving the table. And then it ends with her like falling over backwards in her chair.
Yes. Yes.
But luckily she had underwear on because they were like, oh my God, are you wearing underwear? Because this happens quite a bit. Yes. And then she says, it's been a couple years since I fell off a chair. And then they show old clips of when she's fallen, totally wasted, like falling off of chairs.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, Sonja. But this is where this is hard to love Sonja in these moments because when she goes into these weird places where you're just like, where are you going, Sonja? What happened to you?
And no self-awareness of the fact that your story is way too long. It's way too self-involved. Nobody is listening. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Just no awareness.
Yeah. Well, and then this is the other one where Kristen kind of starts to like flash them a little bit. And then they all get into this whole thing about how great it is to have your boobs out in the air. So Luann, Dorinda, who else? Maybe Kristen, I don't know. They all went down to the beach and like Luann just takes her top off. She's God damn it, looking great.
I know.
Walking down the beach with a shirt, just no shirt on. And Dorinda gets topless and goes into the ocean. We see her underwear. I mean, it was just like, whoa, okay. It was just like, geez.
I know. There was so much nudity and,
Yeah.
These people are very comfortable with their bodies. So, not Kelly, though. We never saw it. I mean,
she wears a bikini.
She had a bikini on, but she didn't get naked. Everyone else was, getting fully naked.
So now we're at day 6. And so day 6, it starts with, I love that. Did the itineraries remind you of the cruise?
Yeah. Where you get your little daily itinerary.
You get the daily, like what's happening.
Yeah.
So this is the one where they go to this beach and Luann. This is what I love about Luann. Luann comes back with a popsicle and she's like, and they're like, where'd you get the popsicle from? She's like, let me tell you.
She's trolling for men in the water.
But what I love is I love her story behind it because she's like, I'm looking around. I don't see a wife. I'm circling. She's circling him.
Like a shark.
Yeah, like a shark. She's circling him. She's like, oh, he's cute. Does he have a wedding ring? Like she's doing all the recon.
Yeah.
And then she starts talking to him, and then his wife shows up with a popsicle, and he gives her the popsicle. So she's like, I got a popsicle. So she's moved on now. She's like out of the water. She's like, I got no time to waste on this guy.
Oh God, I wish I had her joy
her
de
energy
vivre.
and her drive,
her
and
zest for life.
Oh God. And of course she's speaking French everywhere. And I think that's pretty impressive. The fact Italian, French, English. I mean, so tonight is the big night because they're going to have a big party.
And they made final night to invite men.
And they invited all the men they could, any man they saw. But this water relaxation thing, this Atma Janzu. It's a water relaxation therapy. And I saw this at first. I thought, oh God, how this looks stupid. But then I was watching it and I'm like, oh, I would totally do this.
It looked very relaxing.
So basically these people are trained and you go one at a time or two at a time because there's only two instructors. And Luann and Dorinda go first. And
into the ocean.
Into the ocean. You go with these people and they sort of like you kind of let everything go. You close your eyes. You let your body move
just
float. And they sort of spin you around.
Guide you.
Yeah. And I mean, it was like Dorinda's like, I know what it was like, to be in the womb.
Yeah. She's like, I felt my mother cradling me. And both Luann and Dorinda were crying.
Yeah.
Like they had these, transformative experiences.
Yeah. And then Kelly and Kristen went, and Kristen liked it. Kelly was very strange.
Yeah.
Because again,
usual.
Unlocking something. Hers was really sexual. Like all of a sudden she wanted to jump that guy's bones or something. She was talking about how she was horny and oh my God. And that's
experience.
Really weird and something very interesting and psychological. But everyone goes, except for, Ramona doesn't go because of her hand.
Yeah.
Or shoulder.
She has a burn.
And Sonja doesn't go.
No, I thought Sonja did go, but she was.
Oh, that's right. She did go. She was the last one to go.
She had a bad attitude about it.
She was so weird about it because the other part of it was that Luann and Dorinda had this beautiful moment, and they look over and there's Sonja peeing in the bushes. They kind of felt like Sonja was so dismissive of it, and Sonja decided that this is weird and I don't like it.
She thought it was stupid. She had a bad attitude. I think she cut it off early. She wasn't into it.
Yes. And that's when she got in this really weird mood for a long time. She was really struggling. Yes. Oh, that's right. And so her bathing suit was wet. This is where they go. Then they go to lunch. Mm-hmm. And so she had a big scarf and,
a sarong.
And she tied the sarong around her and she took her wet bathing suit off. And her ass is hanging out
completely.
All these French people, all these, tourists are just like, what is this? Like, this is a camera crew and this woman, I mean, no joke, her ass was hanging out.
Yeah. And her boobs. I saw her flash of her boobs. And so I forget who helped her retie the sarong and get everything secured and everything. But she was just clueless. Like she's just walking through the restaurant with her ass completely out.
Yeah. But she was still in that weird headspace.
Yeah.
In that weird place. I can't remember what they talked about at lunch now, but it's just again, she continued to be very strange and interrupting and all of that. But then they go back to the villa and this is where Ramona starts in poor Martin.
Yeah, because she needs her laundry now.
Yes.
Because she doesn't want to forget it.
And he's doing something else. He's helping Kristen. He's doing something else. And Ramona comes in and is like, no, now. So that was unreal. But then the astrologer came. And, the big thing that we learn is Kristen and Kelly are very similar.
Oh, God.
And these people, they're either friends or they trigger each other. So it's
well, we know which it is.
Okay. So the final night is disco night. And, they all look great. I mean, those outfits, again, Kristen Takeman, goddamn, could she wear a jumpsuit? Mm-hmm. All of them looked amazing. Mm-hmm. Luann had her wig back on. So and then they call the pirate, who's now
not a pirate anymore.
He's not a pirate anymore. He works, looks like he works for Morgan Stanley.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, yeah, the pirate calls me here and there. And then all of a sudden, tons of people start showing up. I'm like, where, I guess everyone in the island came to this party, men and women.
Well, her friend Carol, who was at 10 years ago at the place when the pirate was, apparently Carol was the one who brought the pirate. She showed up with the Johnny Depp lookalike. And she had something to do with I don't know if she had something to do with the cover up of that. I don't know.
That was the one, because was she the one that Luann was speaking to in French?
Probably.
Yeah. And we never explained that basically the big story behind all of this was she didn't sleep with the pirate, and she was hanging out with her Italian friends, and that she didn't want that the pirate did come back with her, but that like nothing happened. But she went to her friend and talked to her about it because she didn't want Jacques to know, or she didn't want to explain it to Jacques or something to that extent.
Oh, because it was going to be on TV.
Yeah.
Well, but then why is it that when they're FaceTiming him, he asks her, are you staying in the same bedroom? So, like, he knew which bedroom she was.
So you don't believe her story?
I don't. I don't. And, and the thing is, Sonja freely admits to fucking him.
Yes.
But that's never brought up.
Yeah, no.
And Sonja, she's just sitting there. She doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, she barely wants to see him. She's like, yeah, hi,
Tomas.
You're one of many. Well,
but Luann has milked this pirate story for 10 years. And now she's trying to
But this is what I wonder. I wonder if she and Jacques had an open relationship, because there was talk that she and the Count had an open relationship. Or maybe the Count was open and she just decided I'm going to be open too. But I wonder if she and Jacques had an open relationship.
Well, if they did, why would she be upset? She wouldn't be worried about him seeing
Because
it.
I think that she at that time, this is still season 5. She'd been divorced a couple years. She went right into the relationship with Jacques. So I think that she was a little bit like, I don't think having this open relationship is going to look good for me. And I think that me stepping out on Jacques in general isn't going to look good. I think she knew it was a bad look.
Yeah, she's doing it on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll never know.
So, yes. So anyway, but Dorinda starts to get crazy. She starts losing all her clothes and
jumps in the
pool, and she just goes nuts.
Yeah, and then a bunch of other people, party guests, jump in the pool, and they're all dancing. And here's what I want to know about reality shows. Okay, you know how they don't want to pay for licensed music, so they're always playing this like goofy music.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is supposed to be a disco party, so they're playing disco music, but you're hearing this like do 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 do, and they're dancing, but they're also talking. How do they do it with the sound where they can remove the sound of the music, but not remove the voices, and then add in
because they're all on
sounds.
Different tracks. I think that there's one track for the way in which it's recorded. Too bad Steve
could explain this.
Steve could explain this, but my guess would be, right, because when we use Riverside, when we record sometimes, that like there are tracks. There's your track, my track.
Right.
And so I think that you can do it where there's a music track or talking mic. Your mic.
So
track.
the mic doesn't, but the mic would pick up the background music.
Yeah, but I think there's ways for them to figure out how to reduce that, like turn that up, move that. But yeah, and I also think that there's probably times where there's music and lots of dancing, and then I think there's times where people are just talking.
Yeah, talking over it. Yeah. Okay.
So then at the end, we very briefly, it's so funny, we see them all in these cabs or their cars going back to the airport. And we see Luann, and Luann's like, putting her makeup on. She's like, oh yeah, I had a, how did she describe it? She's like, I had a good night and all this stuff. And so she basically tells them, like, basically, she finally hooked up with someone, but she won't say who. She's like, a lady doesn't kiss and tell. But then they show us the they show us, so they were trying to like, was it this guy? Was it this guy? Was it this guy? And it turns out that I guess after, I don't know exactly how all that happened, but I guess after the party was over at 3:00 in the morning, we see Manu, the sous chef, go down to the, because she's staying down at the bungalow.
Yeah.
He sees him going down to the bungalow, and then we hear her say like, "Oh, hi," like, how's it going? And then 45 minutes later, Manu walks out naked.
You have to go grab something.
Yeah, he was looking. I was like, what is he doing?
He's grabbing something off of the table.
I think they're cigarettes.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're done. They have to have a smoke.
Yes. So to get the cigarettes, and then he comes back in, and you hear Luann go, hi, Well, and this is how the show ended.
Well, it
like,
look,
thank God.
It would not be a trip if
Luann
didn't get laid.
Yes.
And by God, she had to wait till the last night, but she got in.
If she waited that long, we don't know.
She was going to fuck someone that night.
Oh, she was. We knew that.
It was one of the men there. She didn't really. I don't think she really cared which one it was. But
so maybe the night was getting longer and longer, and Manu was like, "Hey," and they were flirting, and he's like, "Just wait for me,"
Well, and wasn't she also talking about how, or was this Sonja? It was either her or Sonja was talking about how they couldn't wait to get back to New York because they had men waiting, like their potential,
Sonja does. Sonja says she has a couple.
Yeah, she has a couple.
And Ramona does. And because Ramona, it seemed like maybe Ramona's dating someone or something, because Ramona was very much not looking for hot guys. You know how she's always looking for hot guys.
Well, remember in the very first day, I think, in the pool, Sonja was telling somebody that one of these guys she's seeing is like 78 or something. And they're like, what? And she's like, oh, but he looks good. He's got his hair, his skin. He doesn't snore. That's her criteria.
Yeah. Well, she married an 80-year-old. How
I
old's that
know.
guy now? So
I think he might be dead. I'm not sure if he's still with us.
But yes, so all is good. All is good. They've got to do more of these shows.
Yes.
Get rid of Kelly. I like Kristen, and just find someone else. I mean, I don't know who's from New York that would be a good addition.
To bring back Jill Zarin. I mean, I don't know if Bethany would ever do it, but Bethany, it has to be like.
I think they tried to bring. I think they tried to bring Jill Zarin for this particular trip, but I think because I remember Heather McDonald talking about
pay.
Yeah, because usually with these things they'll do like what they call favored nations, which means everyone gets the same amount no matter what. And I think that what happened was that they didn't want to pay Jill as much as they were going to pay Sonja and Ramona and Luann, which I do understand that because they have been these pillars of the show the whole time. They do deserve that. But so I think Jill was like, okay, fine, then just don't do it with me. Like, okay. So I think that's how they ended up having to go with Kristen Takeman, maybe, because. I mean, and I think Kristen knew she wasn't their first choice. Like, I think, she was well aware of that. But I'm trying to think, Bethany's like there. Why not Kara Raswell?
Yeah. I don't know if she would do it.
I don't know if she would.
But it's the zaniness of those four. You just can't be beaten. I'm trying to think, even if on other franchises, like you're not going to get four wacky, zany people who are willing to do this kind of stuff. On like Beverly Hills, they're so uptight.
Oh, God. I mean, this season, I started watching this season and then I just stopped because it was like, this was supposed to be Kyle and the Mauricio and the divorce and lesbianism. And it's just been so boring. It's like, oh my God, they're arguing about Sutton's esophagus. I mean, it's unreal.
It sounds boring. I'm not.
It is.
Yeah.
I just stopped watching it.
I will only watch stuff. Did you watch the one when it was at Bluestone Manor?
No.
With Dorinda?
I haven't watched any of these.
It's pretty entertaining.
I haven't watched any of these Ultimate Girls trips, but I can see how they're entertaining and I can see how they're interesting because and they break the fourth wall a lot. Like it's very much like, this is our job. This is what we do. This has happened here. This happened there. And apparently that's what the show is like, apparently, right? Like, because you're getting
they talk about the show.
They talk about the show
and stuff that's happened to them. And Yeah, but that one at Dorinda's house, that was good. But Dorinda was a nightmare.
Yeah, that's
She was
what I've heard.
Super controlling, and everyone was scared of her.
Yeah.
Because she had so many rules.
Well, the other thing too is like you shouldn't have done it there. I know that it's infamous. The place is infamous, but you should have had a neutral place.
Right.
Why would you give her that? She instantly had power.
Yeah. And they were all trapped. Like there was nowhere to go, because it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Like everything kind of happened at the manor. They went out a few times, but there's not a lot of places to go and film where the place was. It looked pretty remote.
Yeah.
So I think they kind of felt a little trapped, but that was a good season. I haven't seen the
3. Did 3 ever come out?
It was the one where they went to Thailand. I think it did.
Did that come out? And then there's the one with
The first one was the one in Turks and Caicos.
yeah, and that had really all. It was like Kyle and Teresa and Melissa
Yeah.
and
Cynthia Bailey, I think.
yeah,
was
they
on
had all
it.
like the OG.
That one was pretty
core
good.
people.
I watched that one. That was pretty good. Yeah.
And then I think Luann was on that one. I think Luann
yes.
and Ramona were in
Yes.
that one.
Yes.
With Kenya Moore? Kenya and
Possibly.
Cynthia from
Yeah.
Atlanta. Like they didn't do all the different, they really did like the bigger shows with the top
Right.
2
Yeah.
people or whatever it was.
No,
yeah.
That was good. But they got along pretty well. I mean, Ramona was a nightmare. I remember that season. She was the one who was she was very calm in this one.
Yeah.
That one, she was just pissing everybody off because she was just saying crazy stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
She was really unhinged.
Well, what do you think? I know we need to wrap up, but like, what do you think about Ramona? And because there's many people that feel like Ramona shouldn't be on any of these shows. That she did, that she was the one that was the big HR violation. That she was very offensive. And I think with Ramona, it has always been like, oh, Ramona says kooky things, but she's just nutty. And it's like, I understand the piece of like, no, that's not okay. We've got to stop saying, well, that they're old fashioned or they're old timers.
Well, she doesn't mean it like that. Yeah, she got disinvited to BravoCon.
Yeah.
Because of a racial slur that she.
Well, and then because of a recent one, like she doubled down or her response to things.
Right. And she was just like, well, I was just repeating what this other person said. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, well then, but you didn't need to say then repeat the word that shouldn't have been said.
Yes.
So she got disinvited from that. And the season, this was during COVID, I believe it was, or COVID time. It was a terrible season. The last season of
Ebony.
With Ebony.
Yeah.
And there was the racial stuff there because Ebony was trying to educate her about, to kind of bring her up to modern times here. And it did not go well.
And it didn't go well with Luann either. I mean, right? Didn't Luann also say a few things?
She might have. I don't remember that specifically. I just remember it was Ebony and Ramona the whole season just butting heads, and they didn't even have a reunion that year.
Yes
It was so bad. Like what's her name?
Leah
was a mess. I mean, it was just a mess of a season. It was just I think they just wanted to forget it ever happened.
Yeah. Well, but what I think is interesting is that I wonder if Sonja and Luann and Dorinda, though Dorinda was already on pause, if they're really angry with Ramona. Because in many ways, the show ended because of that. That's why, like, when they brought Ebony in and Leah, they were like, we can't have these OGs with these new, younger women. Like, this is not working at all. And if we want to have more diversity, we can't.
Right.
So I think it was almost like that's when they said, okay, let's just put them out on St. Bart's and do these shows with them. But I wonder if they're annoyed because this was a big moneymaker for them and what keeps them on TV. And I'm sure Luann makes more money from her cabaret and cameos and all that than maybe the show gives them. But the show was
It was a big paycheck because they've been doing it a long time. They
and
were
also
big stars.
this is the thing is that you get all these other extra things because you're consistently on television.
Right.
And so now, I mean, maybe Luann's okay with it because she's getting all these extra shows, but it's just ridiculous. Like, I don't know. I would be annoyed with Ramona. I would feel resentful towards her if she Especially Sonja, who needs money so badly.
Sonja needs money. And, I mean, Dorinda, I think, has money, but, she's kind of hustling. She has, a Sirius XM radio show. I see her doing different things. And, Luann has to work and go out on tour. And
Ramona has lots of money, but she's she's doing real estate now.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a big paycheck. And, Ramona really did fuck it up.
Yeah. But so that's the question is it's hard for me to praise Ramona because I really do. I'm sick of people making excuses for her behavior. It's like, Ramona, get the fuck together.
Right. Well, she is my least favorite of them. And, she was tolerable on this trip.
Yeah.
Because she was, I think she learned her lesson because she was awful on the first season. But then towards the end, she started losing it. She can only keep it together for so long.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she was doing little passive aggressive things always wanting to be in the middle. And at the end, Luann got pissed off.
Yes.
It's like, you've always got to sit at the middle of the table. You got to be in the middle of the photo. And it's like, so I'm sure she'd been doing that kind of stuff the whole time and just really annoying people.
So much so that they ran into the restaurant.
Yes, to beat her to the table. And then she comes in, she's like, oh, well, I was going to let you sit in the middle of the table.
I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't think you were.
All right. Well.
All right. Wrap it up. You started this one.
It was nice to have something light.
It was very light. It was great to see these gals again. And God damn it. Whatever. I mean, how do you get a body like Luann's? It's unreal.
I don't know.
She really,
money can't buy you class.
But
it can't buy you.
It can't buy you this
great body,
this ideal body, or whatever deal you made.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. If you like our podcast, we would appreciate it if you would subscribe, share it with a friend, leave us a 5-star rating. You can find us on social media at PsychLegalPop on Instagram and TikTok. And you can also email us at psychlegalpoppodcast@gmail.com. If you have any feedback, if you have any suggestions, we're open to whatever. And thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Over 90 of the top 100 U.S. accounting firms trust Bill to simplify and secure bill pay. That's proven financial infrastructure built on over $1 trillion of secure payments. Visit Bill.com/proven for a special offer.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love with no artificial sweeteners, only 30 calories, just 5 grams of sugar, and 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. That great Pepsi taste with even more to love. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.